we are. Good morning, afternoon, evening, you guys. I pushed the button like maybe 10 seconds earlier than 10 o'clock, but I just couldn't wait. I want to see you guys. I want to talk to you guys. I want to see your photos. Always good to be here. And hope you guys are doing well. We see different weather conditions all around the world here. So where I am in Carmel, California, which is often like in the 60-degree range, we're in the 80s. And I see in Chicagoland, you guys are going to have winter coming early. So, hey, this is our planet. And hello from London, Albuquerque, Rami, and keep chiming in where you guys are from and tell us what's going on there. Okay, well, listen, we're going to get right into it. I am going to we're going to do our normal critiquing here. Let me just do the intro business. So I am Marc Silber. You guys probably know who I am by now. I'm an author and photographer in Carmel, California. And hey, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so and enable the bell, because that'll put you in touch with all our stuff and our videos, and you're not going to miss out. And just a reminder that our broadcast today is brought to you by our friends at Bay Photo. I'm going to show you something cool here. Dan Milner talked about, create a postcard. It's an easy way to get your stuff out there. And they have some cool prints that they make, that can be used for various purposes. They're on here, 5x7 gift note cards. And if you haven't placed an order with them, you'll get 25% off. They also have their other specials going on, metal plates. There's their code on there, acrylic images and their plaques. So do yourself a favor and go over to Bay Photo and get something made. Get a print, get a postcard, do something. But it's really super important, as you know, as we talk about a lot, to get your stuff in print. Okay, well, listen, Jared, should we dive in? We got some people ready to go?
And just as a reminder, we're giving out a print today as well.
Oh, yes, that's right. What are we giving away?
We are going to be giving away, I've got right here, we've got a 16 by 24 gallery wrap.
Whoa.
So it comes with, you'll have a choice of 3 stretcher thicknesses, 3 finishes, and 6 border styles. So make sure that you're letting us know where you're joining us from in the chat. That's the best way. I'm keeping track of everybody as best I can. And that's how you get in. So, and if you are just joining us, be sure to join AYP Club.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a link in the chat. You can submit your photos. I do try and check it during the show as best I can. So if I see that, somebody joins and they want to add something, then I may pull it up. So
beautiful. All right. Namaste from India. Yes. Okay. And George where are you, George? You might have already said that here. And Hunter from South Dakota. We got folks from everywhere. Elisa from Panama. Kevin, it's 48 degrees. Where is that, Kevin? And I think you just set it up there. You're in Michigan. And Dallas. Terry in Dallas. Okay, I love it. You guys, Anderson from Switzerland. We are really super covering the globe here. I think that's fantastic. Many places I've been and places I want to go. Sweden. Okay, well, listen, let's dive into your guys' photos. So what's up first, Jared? Tell us about this.
All right. First, we've got a photo from Cindy. No caption with this one, I believe, but I thought it'd be a good one to start off with.
Cindy, this is an awesome image. You have, what it reminded me of, just as you pulled it up, was Mads Peterson Iverson. Peters Iverson. Yeah. Am I saying that right?
Mads Peter Iverson.
There we go. Thank you. Where he does, kind of Lord of the Rings type images. And you've got that. That certainly looks like it's right out of Lord of the Rings. The moody sky, the really interesting tree trunk with roots growing all over the place. And, you've taken a portrait of a tree And don't forget, folks, portraiture applies to anything, not just people. It applies to dogs, animals, trees, rocks. Camille Seaman, who's a fantastic photographer, takes portraits of icebergs. She captures their personality. And this is what you're doing with a portrait. Anyway, great job. You processed it well. You've gotten the tonality. You've got the clouds. Wonderful. Good job.
All right, and now we've got one here from Rami Miller, who I saw in the chat.
I did
This
too.
was from an event last year. Unfortunately, the same event's not happening this year.
True.
Because of life. But here's the image.
Now, where are we here? Maybe you could just leave a note. It's autumn, obviously about the same time of year. Okay, listen. Beautiful colors. It's captivating. Just the colors are what pull you in. And remember, color is a form of composition. You can compose an image with color itself as the feature, and that's clearly what's going on here. We've got, the color of the trees turning and the red sweatshirts. Here's the problem. I've got split attention. I don't know where I'm supposed to be looking exactly. So am I looking at the trees, the guys playing, or the people? There's another layer of people looking, but they're looking in a different direction. So that's kind of sending my eye in at least three different directions. So here's what you want to do. My suggestion, take it or leave it, but I would say you've got a beautiful backdrop. Find the center of attention and move in on it. Is it the guy, for instance, with the trombone? Because we're kind of seeing him in the center of the frame, and he is framed by the two guys standing right in the foreground with their instruments. So we're kind of leading into him, but because we have the people in the bottom sort of taking our eye off in that direction, you're kind of going in two different directions there. So I would say step in to the frame, step into the image. The guy in the trombone, he seems to be your guy. Highlight him by just simply moving in. But you've got all these great elements. Just take some more images until that pops. In terms of you've really composed and we found the center of interest. But good work.
All right, here's one that I know you're going to like because it involves a pastime of yours. This is from George Castro.
Surfing or? Aha. Oh, whoa. Well, I've never surfed. This looks like Alaska or someplace very cold.
This one, he had a note about enjoying going to catch some of the waves.
Wow, you got to have a really thick wetsuit. I'm not sure I'm man enough for that. So well done. Chris Burkhart, our good friend Chris Burkhart has done a lot of shooting in places like Alaska and Iceland and whatnot in very harsh conditions. You've got the clouds beautifully captured. I love clouds. They give you dimension and they tell a story of again, what the harsh conditions are. And you've got this guy, anybody who's ever surfed knows the feeling before you get in the water. Now, there's usually butterflies flying around in your stomach if there's any kind of surf at all. You're anticipating it. It's kind of a mixed feeling of excitement and dread because you're going to hit that water. It's going to be really, really cold. It doesn't matter what wetsuit you've got. There's that first bit, especially your hands and, he doesn't have a hood on, so his face is going to be cold. And there's that anticipation. That's what I get from this. And he's walking out. I love, so to me, it's telling a whole story. And I love the reflection. That's a cool effect in the water. Yeah, this is a great image. Good job. And you've got him framed well. He's between these two outcroppings, so we're not competing. The eye isn't competing. Those triangular rocks, help define him. And actually, looking at it now, in my book, I define 83 different compositional techniques. This is called 3-point composition, where you have a minimum of 3 points, and that's what you've got. You've got the rocks as 2, and he's the third, which is a very strong compositional technique. So, well done. Good job.
All right. Our next one, it is going to break our rules slightly, but I think you guys will understand.
Oh, we up to breaking rules around here? I mean, AYP, we're just sticklers, right?
No, we never break rules here, but we'll make one exception. So these are from Hunter Anderson. He did a series, and he lives in South Dakota, and there was a cattle branding.
Nice.
And so this is from a series, and he took 2, and I'm guessing, Hunter, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I have the feeling that you took these 2 images very close to each other, and I wanted to show them together.
Let's see.
Here's one, and then
I'm going to get rid of my
pull up the other one.
Okay, I'll get rid of my screen because I don't want to get in the way.
Sure that these are very close to each other, but you can see, what a difference it makes.
Yeah. Very interesting. What first comes to mind here is perhaps even a photo essay about this cowboy and what's going on here. It may deserve many shots in a sequence.
Yeah, and there are many of these images, and I recommend, if you're part of the AYP Club, which you should be, definitely go check out some of these other images, because there's a lot of really good ones. I wish I could include more, but 2's pushing it already.
Yeah, no, this is good. Okay, well, it's interesting. There's parts of each that I prefer. Let's just start here on the right. I prefer the way the horse is captured because we can see his whole face, and the lighting to me is more interesting. But the rope part of it doesn't work very well because it's kind of covering up the cowboy's face and kind of getting in the way. So I like the action of the cowboy on the left-hand side. I would like to see more of these. Maybe I'll just pop into where you have them. But again, the sequencing is really cool, and I would think this would really work well as maybe 5 images together, showing the whole sequence, because you're kind of telling a photo essay. You've kind of got a photo story going on here, a photo essay, and I would just run with it, because this cowboy did some things before we got to this, and probably some things after, when he lassoed one of these calves. I guess they're cows. They look kind of young though. Anyway, and then there's another cowboy behind him. Now that could have been an interesting frame within a frame of what's going on right behind him. Play around with it. But you're telling a story with your camera. This is great. I would just go to town with it. In other words, just tell more of that story. Go farther.
Yeah. And once again, I'd recommend go check out. He put up quite a few, and there's some really good ones. So it was hard to pick out a couple, but I thought these 2 would offer us something to discuss.
That's great.
All right. Our next one is going to be, this is from Elisa. And this one came with a little bit of writing with it. Fiddler on Sunday morning, January 2020, from An Angel Holding My Umbrella personal project.
Wow, that's interesting. That title intrigues me. Okay, the fiddler. Wow, all right. And you've got this guy. There seems to be a story here about this fiddler. I think we're into the story mode here with you guys. I would probably like to see you pull back a little bit, and maybe get more of the story. Hey, here's the deal. So we sometimes don't know, and it's good to. This is why it's good to capture a variety of focal lengths and or vantage points, because sometimes you want to pull in tight. Again, I talk about this in my book. There's, get in close, and sometimes you want to pull back to get more of the story. Chris Burkhardt likes to shoot where he pulls back, and he very seldom frames very tightly with his subject in it. It's more of a pullback shot, so we can see what's going on around, and that helps build the story. So that's my first thought. I think it's well composed, and it could be part of a series again. Like if you have another frame or two where maybe you're pulled back and we get to see, okay, here's what's going on, especially as it relates to the umbrella part of it. I guess, that's part of your project, but I'm not sure why. But, just again, I would say a variety of frames, vantage points might help this. But good work. I mean, this is the thing. You're telling a story with your camera. Tell a sequence if you need to. Seems to be we're building a theme this morning on that.
Yeah. I guess, a little bit continuing on that theme. Here's one from Familia. We saw this a little earlier when we were getting set up.
Yeah,
and this is from a group of reenactors. The photo is called The Chosen One, which is the stage name of this reenactor.
So, yeah, this is, if you've tuned into the episode we had with Bob Holmes where he had the priest reading from the book with only candlelight, and this is a great technique. I don't know if it's a flashlight. It doesn't look like there's a candle there. It's some sort of flashlight or something, and it's bouncing off the page and illuminating his face. I believe there's a light source. No, I see it. Over to the left, you can see the beam of light with all those dust particles or whatever those particles are flying around. I don't know what those are. Very interesting. But it looks like, the light source is over to the left. But also, it is bouncing off the page there. And you can see that, and that's illuminating his face. So that's great, great technique. Compositionally, it works well. You have the V of the book being open. And it's kind of pointed in the direction of his face. So we're led instantly to his face. And everything definitely works in that direction. Even the angle of his arm, and again the angle of the book, it's all highlighting. I'm going to basically say the same thing again. I would love to see a pullback of this as well, because you've gone in tight on this subject, but I would love to see more of the story and pull back. So you guys are undoubtedly have done this. I'm just making a comment. If you haven't, shoot from a variety of focal lengths and distances and that sort of thing. But great job here.
Familia says that it's only the sunlight.
Only the sunlight.
So I guess the sunlight must be shining right on it. He's got the page, and he has the page. It's a single page. So it's bleeding through the page much more easily because of that, I guess.
Yeah, and the sun is coming from the left there. Through a window or something. That's great. Good technique.
All right. Well, let's pull back now. We've had a couple that were very up close.
Yeah.
So this one's from Caesar Robles, who I believe he won the Silver Effects when we did that with Doden.
Oh, good for you.
I believe he was our winner, so this might be with that. Yes. So
process with Silver
silhouettes shot along the Great Salt Lake.
Wow.
With the Sony A6000 converted to black and white using the Nick collection.
Good for you. Okay. I'm really a big fan of Nick Collection, and you can bring out the clouds the way you've done here. Looks like you even burned the top edges for sure, maybe the bottom. By the way, that's a really good technique, and it's built into that software where you can burn the edges. For you guys who aren't familiar with that, in the darkroom days, we'd always put more light on the edges to burn them, meaning make them darker. And you can do that easily with the Nick Collection. What it does is it keeps your eye from going off the frame. And what we're trying to do with our photographs is have viewers stay in the photograph and not have them bounce out. So when there's a lightness to the side or the bottom, it tends to pull your eye away. So that's something I mean, just small point, you could burn the bottom two corners a little bit. So black and white, this works really well. I don't have a center of interest though. It's kind of like a lot of people, so I'm not quite sure where I should be looking and who is the center of interest. And I would suggest here, just moving around a little bit until that became more apparent. We've got the mountains beautifully, shot, the clouds, and again, there's for my eye, there's just too many different people to know which one could be the center of interest. So there's a number of ways you could do that. One, just move around until maybe they line up and one of them, is left, let's say, and that could be your punctuation point. The other ones are either, kind of off to the left or whatever. I'm just speculating because you just have to try it and see what works. And another way is the opposite of what I've been saying, which is move in tighter. I feel like the center of interest is the one guy in the center. Maybe not. I mean, there's also the woman walking over, it looks like to a small child. So you got a number of possibilities here, but I would try to highlight one of them so that we know who we're supposed to look at, and the other ones could either blur or whatever. There's different ways we could deal with that. But, great work overall. That's just like a fine-tuning thing.
All right. Now we've got one from Anderson Santana. This one was taken in Ghent, Belgium.
Okay. All right. Very, immediately I think of our friend Cartier-Bresson and the decisive moment. Very interesting photograph. You have frames within a frame here. You have photographs within photographs. And let's talk about it. I am adjusting my earbuds. One of them just went out, so I hope this works out and we haven't changed any volume or anything.
It so far seems good to me.
So the bicycle, very cool. We've got the shadow from the bicycle. We've got the sunburst behind the bicycle, so that everybody's backlit and fairly well silhouetted. And then we have the child talking to the mom, I guess. Somebody. I'm assuming it's a mom there. So you have three people who could be, the center of interest. The thing is, you've done it in a way that it makes them work together. So I'm not feeling that split thing here because they all kind of diagonally connect, which is probably why that works. They're not competing with each other because they're all kind of on the same diagonal line. That was good timing. That's a decisive moment thing. You've got the woman walking with her foot up or moving, which is a Bob Holmes point that he made. That works really well because it shows she's in motion. The bicycle, with the shadow cast, that works. And then the girl looking at the mom. So there's three images here and they fit together. So good job.
All right. Our next one is from Glenn. This was taken in
Jared, hang on a
Hornitos,
second.
California, during their annual All Souls Day celebration.
Okay. All right. Who is this? Okay.
Can you hear me, Mark?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. So this is Glenn's photo. It was taken in Hornitos, California, during their annual All Souls Day celebration.
This is a cool photograph, and it's around Halloween time, so it's really appropriate. Good color. You have her as the center of interest, obviously, with the things coming out of her head, the sun rays or whatever they are, and the purple sky. That works well in the candlelight. So good job. Lots of color.
Well,
the color is again here a key compositional element with this photograph.
all right, here is one from our friend Jared in Chicagoland.
Chicagoland.
He said that he's still processing some photos from earlier in the month, but this was taken at a wedding, and he just loved this one because it had kind of a folksy feel and, just very relaxed feeling.
Yeah. Good job, Jared. Of course, I'm a big black and white fan. Here's what I would probably want you to do here, though, is, again, on my eyes a little bit pulled away by that lamp. The trees are fine because they're kind of paralleling him, which adds to the photograph. But the parts of it that I find pull my eye away are the lamp and the bottle kind of crossing over his leg. So I would say take a couple of steps over to your left, get rid of the lamp in your framing, and leave the trees. And the bottle would probably work that way because it wouldn't be crossing over his foot. So that would be my main suggestion, is just get rid of that lamp. You can't crop it. You could, I guess. But it'd be better to do it in camera. Just simplify. Less is more. Chase Jarvis in one of my interviews talked about, once you kind of got your shot figured out, figure out if there's things you can take out of it. If they don't work, if they don't add to the image, get rid of them. And there's a lot of ways you can get rid of stuff. You can, if it's movable, you can go move it yourself. If it's not movable, like that lamp, then you got to move. So that's kind of your choices. You can do stuff in Photoshop and whatnot, but that isn't really what we're talking about here. Let's talk about framing in the camera and just, your feet are your best friends. But good job. It does have that folksy feel. I like that. Those are my suggestions, which you can take or leave as you choose. By the way, just always remember that you don't have to agree with anything I say, nor do you have to agree with anybody else's critique. I'm just trying to point out things that, I see in my knowledge of composition, and I hope that helps.
Yeah, and Jared points out, apparently the groom was standing where he would have had to have gone to move to get that lamp out of the way, which does show that sometimes it is difficult to move.
Yep, tell that groom to move because he's messing up your shot. Try that out. Okay, I hear you. There's always that, stuff that we're dealing with.
Yeah. All right. Let's pull another one from Amy Douglas, who, as always, constantly has these amazing photos from your self-portrait series. Let me find the title for this one because I always love the titles that you give these. This one is titled Seen But Not Perceiving.
Amy, I really like your inquisitiveness and your willingness to sort of take chances and try different things. And, from what I've seen of your, examples of your images, you do that a lot. It's, it's like he's holding up this mushroom or fungus or whatever it is, like he's going to look through it or something. and that's pretty cool. I think you've done a great job. Your composition is clean. Um, you know, the triangular shape of his arm on the left helps kind of define the image, and clearly in the center of interest, there's your subject lit. You know, his face is partially lit up. It works really well. Great job.
All right, here's a really good one, and it comes with an interesting story too. This is from Dave Land, and he talks about how this photo was one of the very first ones he took with the DSLR. He was super pleased with it, but it proved to be a huge learning curve because he struggled for months to create anything close to this. And so it frustrated him for a long time trying to capture another image similar to this. He's been back there several times, but he's never quite seen the lighting the same way as this.
I love the tones, you know, the colors. And, you know, this is where you go, well, how would this look as a black and white? Is the color, my choice of black and white is usually when the color isn't like a predominant part of the image. But in this case, it is. And, you know, it's the brownish tones it looks like fall to me. You know, the ferns are, I think those are ferns, kind of dying off. The leaves are looking like they're about to fall off. You've got the sun just sort of, you know, peeking on the edge of that tree there. And that's your portrait. It's the tree surrounded by its friends with the sun hitting it in this beautiful autumn light. Good job.
All right, this one's from Jeremy Lindfield, who's our friend that's been working on processing, you know, color film. And here's another shot of that Everglade that he shared with us.
So is this a color slide, or is this you've actually printed this in color? Either way,
I'm not 100% sure on that. If you're in the chat, if you happen to be here, Jeremy, or in the comments afterwards, you can let us know.
Very impressive. You know, it looks like you're lying on the ground maybe and looking up. I mean, that's cool. Because we're seeing the clouds, but it's kind of like an upside down photograph. And it's an interesting composition. It leaves you asking questions. And of course, I'm ever impressed with anybody who processes and prints color. So that's well done. And the color in it works. It's very subtle. It's sort of similar to the last one. The color is, it's not hitting you in the face, but it's those warm brown tones that your eye is drawn to. So that's really a color compositional tool. Okay, you guys are doing great, by the way. I'm really ever impressed with your work.
It's so hard for me to pick ones.
I know.
So let's go with our friend Bert, who is usually posting stuff about sports and music, but he did this one a while back, and I really love this photo. Comes with a little bit of a story. The story is that he makes a walk every day, and he sees these gentlemen sitting out here having their conversation. You know, this is pandemic times, so they just set up.
They got to be outside.
Chairs. Yeah, and they hang out, and so he finally asked them if he could go and if he could take some photos of them. And this is part of two different photos. He's got another one that's very similar, but then this gentleman is looking at him, and that's the main difference between the two. But I like this one a lot.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Bert. This is great. It's the sign of the times. The center of interest is well defined. It's the guy right in the center. And, we see the Burger King logo, which, again, what this reminds me of is a Norman Rockwell painting of the guys in the, it's a Cracker Barrel. They're all around the barrel in the kind of the general store or something. Jared, if you have a second, maybe you could just Google that and pull it up.
Sure.
Norman Rockwell, Cracker Barrel. I don't think, you were definitely not, this isn't like you were plagiarizing it at all, because it's very, very different. But it's the same feeling of like a bunch of guys sitting around with a lot of time in their hands. Nobody's rushed. They're not going anywhere. And instead of hanging out in the general store, they're hanging out in front of Burger King. And the reason why they're not inside Burger King is because of the pandemic. You know, they probably couldn't all be sitting together. And the one guy, you know, is the two guys on the left. The one is, I guess he's doing the talking. Now that I look at it, yeah, he's gesturing. But your guy in the center of the frame is clearly the one who my eye is drawn to. But you know what's good? It's like my eye goes around and I get to see each one of these. They're colorful characters, you know, in their own right. Jared, were you able to find that?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine. It's just a side point. But anyway, you capture this story. It's black and white. I think that's great. The clouds, dark skies, and it leaves us just feasting on these different people in it, which is great, and that works really well.
All right, we're burning through these. We still have so many here, so I'm going to try and go back a little bit to some that we've had for some time. Here's one from Joe that he sent for us.
Ha! I love it. Very whimsical, and dog graduation. What is this dog graduating from? My dog never got a cap and gown.
Could be like obedience school or something.
Obedience school. How come my dog didn't get a cap and gown? Shyla, you missed something here. Anyway, it's funny. I love it. It's well composed. Colors are perfect. Expression. You've got it all. Good job, Joe. I love it.
All right.
Dog portraiture is a cool thing.
Yeah, it is. It's always difficult working with animals, but did a good job.
Yeah.
Here's one by Todd Fuller, and I'm looking here to see. Nope, no caption with this one. So.
Okay, so we have a decisive moment of drops of water, and the rings going around. You've focused on it and left everything else out of focus, which is good because now, we're centering on this. And black and white works. You've got a reflection. You've got a lot of good elements here. I wonder, again, we're going back to the sequencing thing, if there were others in that series that might help tell that story. That would just be my only thing, is maybe this deserves... Like if there's somebody who threw something in the water, or where did that drop come from, would be an interesting part of it. But that's just a sequencing thing. So you might put them in a series. But anyway, good job. It definitely is a moment that you've captured.
All right. So here's a really interesting one. This is of a Ho-Chunk native dancer in Wisconsin. So the digital image was taken in July of 2019, but this was print. It says here, so alt print Van Dyke Brown on a platinum rag. So I think that this has been put in a different format than just a digital image, and this is sort of a scan of that. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
So Daniel, I'd like to hear about really that. It was printed as a platinum print, and then you scanned it. Wow. So it was shot on film, I assume. Very, very subtle in its tonality, and you framed it well because you got everything in the frame with this guy, the feathers, everything fits. The diagonal motion gives it energy, gives it vitality. And good job. Hey, well done. I'm just gonna show this one of, this isn't really the one I was thinking of with Norman Rockwell, but you get the idea. He did he did these slices of life type images, of this is a lunch counter. But the one I was thinking of is a little different. But if you're not familiar with his work, you might want to check it out. It's, again, you find your inspiration in different places. And it's always good to look at other artists and see how they did things that you're doing similar work with. But anyway, this is great. I love the feeling of this. Could be 100 years ago. It could be 50 years ago. Chris Burkhardt talks about, creating images that are kind of timeless. And you've done a really good job with that.
All right. So this one is from Santiago. And the story behind this one is that his friend is running for congressman in my country. I'm not sure exactly if it's the United States or not, just says my country.
No, it's not, because we were talking about it yesterday on the phone, weren't we, Santiago? Thank you.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
So he's running as a congressman, and he said that the pictures that his party took of him were terrible. So he told him that he could do a photo shoot in exchange for access to the campaign to write a small photo essay about the election in their country. And so he took this image while he was making fun of him, asking how much he was planning to steal from the taxpayers.
I love it. Well, listen, Santiago, thanks for, we talked yesterday and you told me about this, and now I get to see the actual image. Black and white works great. I'm going to say the same thing. However, I need to sort of see it's part of a sequence. And I realize it's our fault. We're only picking one image. But I know you said you shot a photo essay, and it's hard for me to evaluate one image out of that by itself because it clearly is part of a series. But you've done a good job in that one sequence. And I assume there's a lot of other expressions and, emotions. And I think that's the power of a photo essay is that, you're showing this congressman, right, in his various moods. And you got him laughing. He could laugh. That's good. That's always a plus. But you probably have, images of him being serious and doing different things. But anyway, great job. It certainly works within a series of photographs.
All right. This one is from not a member of the AYP Club, but the daughter of a member in the AYP Club.
Welcome.
Nemi, I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry. I'm not very good at French, which I'm assuming is since this was taken in Paris. But this was from a shoot of the May 1st demonstrations. They were 13 years old when they took this.
Excellent. You were 13 when you took this. That's a fantastic photograph. You've got your subject well framed, perfectly framed. You've got the other guys behind him. The guy in the far on the right, blurred out, perfect. The other ones frame him with their helmets. And that expression leaves us asking so many questions, which is great. Also, what's he doing with a GoPro stuck on his... I don't think we see that in the U.S.
We do nowadays. There are more and more police officers that have cameras.
I guess they're trying to cover their side of the story with their GoPro. Because everybody else is filming them. It only stands to reason that they'd want to have their filming. I love the reflections on his visor. But again, it's the expression. What is that expression? Is he like, bring it on, I can't wait to take this billy club out and start using it on somebody? Or is it, it could go so many different ways. And that's a fantastic photograph at age 13. I'm jealous. You've done a great job. But you've got to join the AYP Club. We have no age limit. In fact,
they don't have a Facebook account.
Oh, okay.
So that's the reason they posted this through their dad's account.
All right.
They don't have one. Otherwise, they said that they would join.
Just take over your dad's account. That's fine. You can post away on his account.
All right, here's another one from our friend Sumit, and no caption with this one.
I
So
love it. Just right off the bat, I'm like, the flower in the foreground being out of focus, and that's creating a whole effect, which is really cool. Leaving the face open. We're not covering the face here of this person. And the expression, looking straight into the camera. Awesome photograph. Well done. There's so many good things in that photograph. It's very clean composition. And the colors
contrast so well with each other.
Yeah, that color, you'd think. So this is an example of something not pulling your eye away, but actually helping you see the subject. Even though it's pretty dominant, that leaf on the left, it doesn't distract me. It actually harmonizes. So great job. We're probably getting around to the end here, Jared. We got one or two more, and then we'll.
Yeah.
I could do this all day with you guys. In fact, we're building out a platform very soon. You've been hearing me talk about it, where we're going to have a regular weekly in-depth critiquing and mentorship. So it's coming. It's coming.
We're working hard at it.
We're working hard. We're just fine-tuning it, trying to figure it all out, get all the pieces to fit.
I really liked this one. This one's from Vinmara. I believe that's how you say it.
Great job. So yeah, the curtains being open, leading to the mom and the daughter, and everything else pretty blurred out because of the curtains works really well. That's just, I don't know if this was a decisive moment that you just happen to get those curtains open or you open them. It doesn't really matter. Either way, it doesn't matter at all. You've done a great job, and the lines on the curtains. This is a compositional technique of looking through curtains. Actually, your eye is led to see what's on the other side. And there's two different compositional techniques that this follows. It doesn't really matter what they're called, but it works really well, and it's easy for me to see what who the subject is. I can almost see that the little girl has got a warm expression on her face, even though I don't see her smiling, it feels like she is. Her little hand is so cute, and it's just showing right there, and their other hand is kind of in motion, but the mom is clearly intent on whatever she's doing there, combing, brushing her hair, or putting something in her hair. Very warm. The interchange between them is great, and the light coming through the window is just fabulous. It's just, again, it's soft, and it's not burning anything out, even though the window on the right is burnt out. You've got soft light on your subjects, so that works really well. And it works as a black and white. Fantastic.
All right.
So I think one more, and we'll have to give our prize
one more. I think we got a pretty good one here. This is from Magnus.
Oh.
It's from a trip that they took in Thailand in 2014.
Okay. Frames within frames, in a way. The girl is obviously our center of attention. The mom, I'm assuming mom, leaning back. There's an expression there. There's some sort of, this isn't a super happy moment, even though she's got the heart. I think that's a heart, or is that a leaf? Anyway, it's heart-shaped. It's pensive, there's something, hunger or something is going on here that this story is telling, that emotion. And that's always a good thing. I mean, you want to capture that emotion. You want to get an emotional impact. And, the little girl is looking right into the camera, not afraid of the camera, but not happy. Mom is not happy. Even the guy standing in the doorway, there's something going on here. There's questions that we were asking, and that's again a really great quality in a photograph. Leave people asking questions. Don't tell everything there is to tell. That's something Bob Holmes talks about, and it's a great tool. Wonderful image, well done, well composed, works great as a black and white. So I believe that's it, right?
Yeah.
We have more, guys. I mean, I wish we could spend the time to get everybody's in here. Just keep coming back every week. And you guys are doing such a great job. One of the things we're going to do in our mentorship program is I'm going to give people who are in it, you're each going to choose your own assignment. I'm not going to give you one. But this is what we did in art school that worked really well, which is that you had a long-term project. Dan Milner's talked about that. Bob Holmes talks about it. It changes your photography because you're building each week, you're adding to that long-range story. And it could be a story like, let's take this one for instance. It could be a story about the mom and the daughter. It could be a story about this particular location. There's any number of ways you could tell a long-range story. The subject matter is what ties it together. And week by week, you bring your images back and we see them developing into a body of work, which is really important. Something I've talked about with a number of you guys, how you mentioned to me, and I completely understand this, how you want to leave behind a legacy of work. You want to leave behind something that's your body of work. And so we're going to be creating that. And at the end of the series, like every 3 months, with our friend Dan Milner, we're actually going to publish a blurb book with highlighting, 4 or 5 images from each person, so you actually see your work in print, and you get to pick the ones out of that, that 13-week series that you feel are the best ones. So this is coming your way, guys. And stay tuned. I'm going to talk about more of this kind of stuff tomorrow. So be sure to join me tomorrow at 10 a.m. What is the biggest missing ingredient in photography, and how do you open your doors to advance your photography? That's what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow at 10 a.m. Please join me. I'm really excited about this. And I want it to be a conversation. I want to see your questions and comments as we go through this. I want to hear from you as we are developing a subject. And I feel like this is something sorely needed and missing throughout virtually every YouTube channel, every photo site. There's a missing ingredient, and I'm going to tell you what it is tomorrow. So you got to stay tuned to find out what it is. And Jared, on that note, we better announce our winner. Who is the winner?
All right, I have done the magical numbers to select somebody.
Okay.
And our winner for today's prize is Glenn Camarada. I hope I said your last name correctly, but
okay, Glenn.
Yeah, and he's the one that submitted the photo of from the Day of the Dead celebration.
Ah, okay. So well done, Glenn. You can get any print you want. You don't have to get that one, and enjoy your print.
Well, I think it's that's the specific prize. But yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
you can get a print. Doesn't have to be that photo.
You can just send in anything you want for Bay Photo.
It's like the prize is of a very specific item.
Yeah, it's a specific item, but whatever you decide to print is up to you. So well done.
I'll get in touch with you, Glenn. I know that you're part of the AYP group, obviously. So I will get in touch with you, and we'll work on getting you connected to Bay Photo.
Boom! Excellent job. Okay, guys. Well, listen, I got a lot of work to do today. I got to catch up on things. I got to get ready for tomorrow. And whatever you're doing, be sure that photography is part of your day, and you continue to advance. And I hope to see you guys on this mentorship program. I've talked to many of you about it, and we're getting this all geared up. So before we end off, just want to remind you, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe and enable the bell so you don't miss out on any of our episodes. And let's see that again so we don't forget. And here's the thing. I love reading your comments. We try to keep up with them. Jared and I will answer. You'll sometimes see answers from Dan Milner. But leave your comments, leave your questions. Your feedback is really important. We love hearing it. If you care to share any of these videos, please do so. And of course, go ahead and like them. That's always a cool thing too. But the main thing is, and I want you guys to say it with me. Okay, ready? Remember to get out and capture your own images of life. Love you guys. Stay well, stay safe. Stay creative. We'll see you tomorrow.